Hi. Hi, Bridey.
Oh, hi. How are you, Maureen?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. Maureen Skowronek from the History Committee at the Irish American Home Society, and Bridey McSweegan.
Correct.
And she
you
is
say
from.
That very well.
Did I say that well? I've been practicing. She is from Tralee, County Kerry, and she came over, and we're going to have a chat about her coming over and her beginnings at the Irish American Home Society. She is a lifetime member.
I am.
And she has held many positions, secretary and assistant financial secretary. So she has been with the Irish American Home Society for a very long time.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a nice chat here in her beautiful home. And
thank you.
I'd like her to start by saying exactly what brought her here and her little travel here. And then we'll go into the beginnings of her visits to the Irish American Home Society.
Well, first of all, it was my sister Joan was the one that was supposed to come here. And while my mom was talking to Joan, Joan didn't want to come because she was in love with some young man. And she never married him. She married somebody else and had 8 children. So it was a happy, happy, happy time. I said, when Joan refused, I said, oh, I'll go. But in back of my mind, I wasn't thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to leave home. And then it gets too late to back out. Right, so all that time, I kept thinking, ooh, I'm going to have to leave home. But that went by very quickly. It was very sad leaving home. And the reason I did leave home was there wasn't that much work in Ireland at the time. And all my friends were going to England. And my mom didn't want us to go to England. And so she had a lot of sisters and brothers in the United States, and she thought it would be and that's who I was coming to. She knew I'd have somebody here, part of her family.
Right.
My Aunt Margaret and my Uncle Jerry were the ones that sponsored me and brought me here. And I'm so grateful to them for doing that, and I did have an opportunity to tell them that, which we'll get to.
Which is lovely.
But anyhow, I remember when I got to the United States, I was scared stiff. And my Aunt Margaret and my Uncle Jerry were absolutely wonderful. And so after it was a big responsibility for them. In order for me to come to the United States, I had to go to Dublin to the U.S. Not Congress, but
the U.S. Consulate.
The consulate. The United States American Embassy. I had to go there. And I had to go there for like a 3-day physical.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. And plus you had to stay up there as well. But anyhow, I said my rosary so I could pass my tests, and I did. And then when I finally left home to come here, it was around Christmas, and it was sad leaving home, but I've never really regretted coming to the United States, because working in different places like Connecticut General, where I started work, the opportunity to better yourself was there. And prior to my coming here, I happened to go to confession, and the priest for some reason recognized my voice.
Because confession at that time was behind
curtains. Yes, it was. And so he said, is this Bridget? I hear you're going to the United States. And I said, oh, yes, I am, Father. He said, now, when you get there, I want you to get a nice job doing housework, stay with that family, and save your money, and then you'll be able to come back to Ireland, and in other words, live happily ever after. Well, when I got to the United States, my Aunt Margaret had a whole different thing in mind for me. So she said, oh, there's no way you're going to do housework. She said, I've been doing that all my life, and it's hard work. And she said, you're a whole lot smarter than I was back then.
Wow, she was progressive.
Oh, she was. She really
had a lot
was.
of insight.
She did. She really did. So I said, okay. And she said, we'll try these insurance companies. And I said, okay. And the poor woman, she came with me to all my interviews and everything. She took me to Travelers. She took me to Connecticut General, which was down on Elm Street in Hartford. And then she took me to not Hartford Hospital, St. Francis Hospital. I don't know why she took me there, or not a doctor and a nurse and head, but see, I just turned 17 that November, and I left home the 5th of December.
Oh my goodness.
So it was, and I think I had the mentality, because I had never been away from home. I must have had the mentality of a 12-year-old or 13-year-old.
Well, you had no clue what you were getting into. So
yeah, I had
just that apprehension. But then you probably grew with it.
I did. This is my home as far as I'm concerned. And it gave me the opportunity to do so many things. And so anyhow, when I got here, I wasn't thinking about, what am I going to do? Where am I going to do? So my aunt did take me, like I said, to those 3 places. I got a call, that was on a Monday, and on a Wednesday night, I got a call from Connecticut General asking me if I could start work on a Wednesday. Excuse me. But I would have to take a physical. And I said, oh my God. I said,
3 days of physical.
I've been doing a physical for a month, at the embassy in Dublin. And they said, well, that's okay, it's company policy. So they hired me, and I started work the 5th. I got here the 5th of December. And I started work at Connecticut General January 5th.
Oh my goodness.
Which was just a month.
Right.
And it was around Christmas. So it was a very sad Christmas for me because I was away from everybody that I knew. I didn't know my Aunt Margaret. I didn't know Uncle Jerry. The only one I knew then was Mary Sayers Malarkey now.
Right.
So anyhow, once I got here, that wasn't the end of everything. For me, what they did was they gave me to come into the country. I had to have an alienation card. And then every January I had to go, and everybody else who came had to go to the post office. And then they would, I don't know what they did, but it was to let them know, yes, I'm still here. And it was a way for them to keep track of you. Which is a good way, and they've lost that completely.
Right.
So I said, okay, that's fine. So I would go every January and register with the post office. And so, that's how it went first. When I started at CG, I loved it. I really did. I was scared, but I loved it. And then one Saturday night, my aunt said, okay, Bridget, we're going to go to a dance tonight. And I said, I was all excited. And I said, where? And she said, the Irish American Home on Park Street. So I did. Excuse me. Now, I used to go to dances in Ireland, and they would bring bands from Dublin. They bring bands from all over Ireland that only played American music in the 50s.
And if you were 17, that's probably what you wanted to listen to.
And we'd go to all the dances. The dance halls were crowded, and we all loved to dance, and it was great. Elvis Presley was very popular at that time. But anyhow, I did go to the dance with my Aunt Margaret and Uncle Jerry, and we were sitting at the table, and there wasn't any American music. So I said to my aunt, when are we going to the dance? And she said, this is it, Bridget. And I said, oh.
A little bit surprised.
I know a lot of people probably be amazed at that.
Right.
But that's exactly what happened.
And the hall was small.
And the hall was a very small hall, and there were 3 or 4 people in the band, and they just played traditional Irish music, which is great because I knew how to do the jigs, the hornpipe, and everything, but I didn't know any set dancing.
Right.
The set dancing, like the Clare set and all of that, the Siege of Venice, the Waltz of Limerick. I didn't know how to do any of that. And that's what they were doing. But it's amazing how you grow to love it.
Yes.
That night, the only thing I saw was Peggy Malarkey, Joan Sheehan, and Noreen Martin were asked to get up and do the sailor's hornpipe, which I had never seen done. And so they did, and I thought it was wonderful. But again, it was the traditional violin and accordion and stuff
Traditional
like
Irish
that.
music.
And it was, yeah, the traditional Irish music. So, you know, I continued going to the dances on Saturday night because now I'm in an Irish club and I'm starting to feel more accepted.
Right.
Not accepted
like a
as
home
much as
away from home?
exactly,
Yeah.
because the people were so nice and everybody was asking me where I came from and how long I had been here. And so, like I said, Joan Sheehan, they all ended up my friends.
Right.
And then when I went to work, I made friends at work, and the opportunities that were given to you were there if you wanted it.
If you wanted it.
Exactly. And that's what happened to me, actually. My aunt thought I should go to school, night school, and she did. She came with me, actually, on the bus to Hartford High School, night school, and she said, I think you'll go there. I don't think my aunt understood, but anyhow, because I was very good at English, she said, I want you to improve your English. And I said, oh, okay. So I went to school anyhow, and when I went to class that night, I was scared again because I knew no one. Apparently the class I went to was for Americans, people becoming American citizens.
Oh, okay.
And on the blackboard that stands out in my mind, they had the word criticism, but it was broken down into syllables. So the teacher said to me, can you read that? And I said, yes. And I told him, I said, well, it's criticism. And you have it broken down into syllables. And he said, what are you doing in this class? And I said, well, my aunt said I should go. I'm being very obedient. I went. And I never even stayed in that class because he said to me, can you type? And I said, no, I can't. And he said, well, I think that's what you should do. So he told me to go down to, I don't know where I went. He came with me and introduced me to the gentleman that was teaching the classes for typing. And I couldn't believe it because in my short time here, I knew this man, and his name was Tom Bowie, who apparently was someone that was...
He was the chairperson of the FESH,
Okay.
of the first FESH for many years.
Okay, see, I didn't know Tom Bowie. I didn't know anybody. So Tom was very, very good, and I did go to his class, and I did learn, and I bought my typing book. Every day back at Connecticut General, I would not go to lunch because I figured I'm going to do something for myself. So I would practice on the keyboard so I'd feel really good and get fast. I was very competitive, faster than everybody.
On the typewriter.
On the typewriter. And then, I don't want to carry on this, but I did take an exam. At work, my boss called me and he said, Bridget, you're interested in typing? He was a wonderful man. I could never call him John. I always called him Mr. Preston. So he said, I believe you like to type. And I said, yes, I do, but I don't know how. I'm learning. And he said, well, you're doing a good job. He said, would you like to take a test? And I said, okay. I'm not good at taking tests, especially if somebody's sitting looking
Right next to you.
So he said, okay, we'll set it up. And he did. And the gentleman was, Mr. Preston was the bigger boss. The gentleman that gave me the test was, like the second boss. And he said, okay, Bridget. So I took my test. I sat down. He came back to me. He said, you know what, Bridget, you typed every line twice. So apparently, I didn't pass the test. And I said, oh. And then I told him how scared I was.
Right.
I said, well, you were sitting on the desk watching me, and I don't do well with that. So he said, okay, so why don't you go back to the typewriter and start practicing again. I didn't know he was
still
timing
watching.
me.
Oh, he was timing.
And I was taking a test and didn't know it.
And you did well.
I did well, yeah, except I typed every line twice.
Oh.
But I went fast.
But you had that opportunity to
I
progress. You were
just-
motivated, and
I knew I
that's
wanted to do that. And anything in the office that I felt like I would never sit at my desk doing nothing.
Right.
I would always go. I just pushed myself. I would always go and say, is there something I can do? And Mr. Preston was another one. He said, my sister Mary then decided to come to this country. And I was her sponsor. And which was great. I sponsored her. And when she came here, Mary worked at Stop and Shop. Now, don't ask me where it was or what Mary did at the Stop and Shop. She may have been a meat cutter. She could have been anything. I don't know. But anyhow, he said, he said, I hear you have a sister. And I said, yes. And he said, why isn't she working at Connecticut General? And I said, because she has a job. So he said, well, if you bring her here, you get $20. They used to pay.
Oh my goodness.
But
they do that now.
Do they? I
Sign
didn't
on
know
bonus.
that.
They do.
Oh, I
But
didn't know that.
$20 now.
Oh my
it's
God,
a lot of
I
money.
forgot $20.
Yeah. Now they give you like 1,000, 2,000.
Oh yeah, well, it wasn't like that. But anyhow,
isn't that wonderful?
yeah,
So
it
she
was.
went and worked it.
So Mary came, yeah, she took time. I said to her, well, she's working. And he was very nice, and he just set it up for Mary to come in after she got out of work and come in and interview at the personnel department. And Mary got a job at Cigna. And I was able to train her.
Oh,
you
wow,
know,
how
because
wonderful.
whatever I was doing, I was only filing in the mail, you know, within the office. And I was doing that. So I was able to train Mary, which was wonderful. And she ended up even with a better job in the end, you know, because she worked at it.
Right.
And I was working at mine. So we were doing well, and apparently they appreciated
They did,
us.
yes.
You know, they appreciated us. And it was wonderful. So I stayed at Connecticut General for 40 something.
Oh my
When did I leave? In 82.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, in 82, I left Connecticut General, and I think it was 30-something years that I was there. And I loved it. And the only reason, I have to tell you something else. I told you about the priest said, you know,
Yes,
and then,
yeah.
I did. I told you,
Yes.
see, I love.
Yeah.
But
To clean houses, right?
I know, clean houses. I never did that. My aunt wouldn't allow me to. So I did. My aunt would get on the bus in the morning and ride the bus to Connecticut General.
With you.
Because I had no sense of direction. I never rode a bus in my life until I came here.
Wow.
So, but things got, really good. And I stayed at Connecticut General. I kept going to the Irish Club.
And you became very active in the Irish Club.
Oh, I
You were
did.
secretary.
I did. I ended up being corresponding secretary, recording secretary. I never became president, because this was later on in years you would do that type of thing. And I didn't have enough knowledge. But anyhow, I was secretary, corresponding secretary, recording secretary, membership secretary,
Oh my
assistant
goodness.
financial secretary.
Oh, so you
And I
really
would-
became quite active.
I thought I was pretty smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
At
But
that
you
time-
also, I understand from an article that I read, I don't know if you know this, but you were on the entertainment committee. And
Yeah.
there was something noted that entertainment will be from a singer, Bridey McSweegan, tonight.
Oh my God, yeah.
So we're going to sing before we finish this
Oh,
little interview.
my voice is completely gone.
Well, that's okay. We'll
Yeah,
pretend
so,
anyway.
yeah, it's
But anyway,
completely
so
gone.
for many years, you met
So-
your husband there.
I did, and not only that, with the when they left Park Street, the Irish Club sold. No, they didn't. They only rented it, and they bought a place on Grove Street,
Right.
and it used to be a church. We had the best time in that church because now it's the Irish American Home,
And it was owned by
and
a
it was
society.
owned by them. So they were doing very good. I think it's a great thing to be able to do that as a group of people before me, started this, knew it was needed.
Right, that
you
was
know.
insight into the future
Yeah,
and what
it
we
was.
would need to, number one,
I say
expand
God
the
bless
culture.
them, yeah,
right?
because I still have friends. And the thing about it was not only did Hartford have an Irish club, and nobody in the beginning, when they moved to Grove Street, it was fine, but when they decided to move to Glastonbury, how are we going to get there? None of us drive, But it's amazing, if you want to get someplace, you'll go there
Right.
or do it.
And look at the
just to get
facility
there.
that's in Glastonbury
Oh,
now.
God,
The
yeah.
field that they allow so many sports teams come.
It's wonderful, it really is. And it's always been my home away from home. And not only me, but a lot of other young Irish people that
So many
came to
people,
this
so many
country.
Irish
Oh, my
say
God.
a home away from home. That's
Yeah.
how they classify
It
it.
is, and not only that, do you know how many families have
Exactly.
started by just people meeting their husbands or their,
Right, right.
you know, their fiancé
And then
or
their
whatever.
children, the
And
culture
their
continues, their
culture
children.
continues, exactly.
Because some of the people, Margaret Sayers, no, it wasn't Margaret Sayers,
Peggy, Mary,
Mary Sears.
yeah?
And I know her niece.
Oh, okay.
That's Mary Sears as well, right? So she was Mary Sayers. Is she related
Mary
to Peggy Sayers? Mary Sayers,
Mary Peggy's-
Malarkey?
Mary Malarkey, Peggy Sayers would be Mary's sister-in-law.
Oh, sister-in-law. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. So I know their children.
Yeah, do
Right.
you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And Tom Bowie, you mentioned.
I mentioned
we
Tom
danced
Bowie.
with their children.
Yeah, oh my God.
Right. So it's
Yeah.
a wonderful
I had a
thing.
picture too I took. I have to get it there to show to you. But anyhow, then like I said, my sister, with the Irish club, they'd have football games,
Right.
hurling games. They'd have a lot of things. There was entertainment on a Saturday night. And then what they started when we finally came to Glastonbury, that was another thing I did. I made a sign when they were moving to Glastonbury, and they were going after a permit to sell
Okay.
liquor, so I made that big sign. There's a picture of it someplace.
Oh, I'll have
So
to
I
look.
made
for
that
Little
sign.
Mice. Yes.
Yeah. Tom Follen used to have it, I think. I don't know if he
Yeah,
has it now.
Tom Tolan. He was
Yeah,
the
Tom.
he was the protege
president.
at that time.
Oh, was
he was
he?
president,
Yeah.
I think, at Grove Street, and it
Yeah.
was Jack O'Keefe that was
Okay,
president
I remember
in
Jack.
Glastonbury.
Yeah, yeah.
But wonderful times, and
It's great. But anyhow, because the Irish club, when they moved to Glastonbury, you had teams coming out from Ireland. And naturally, like when they came out to New York, they were still going to a field that
Right.
was rented.
that was rented.
They didn't
So-
have their own club.
Yeah.
So they were awed by the fact that, oh my God, you've got your own club,
Yeah.
your own shower in the club, and then they could shower after the games. And so that was a big thing to them. A lot of them today have built their own clubs in Ireland in the different sections.
Okay.
Like you'd have competition between the different towns and the different,
Right, the different
you know,
counties.
Exactly, and
Yes.
they play football.
Right.
But yet, those fields were also rented.
Well,
So
I think
now-
it was John Droney, after speaking with him, I think he said the purchase of the Grove Street building was the third building in the country
I
that was
believe it.
owned
Yeah, I
by an
believe
Irish
that.
American society.
Mm.
Because all the rest were
yeah.
rented.
Yeah, they were.
But
And-
there was great insight. There was progression with the people that belong there.
Yeah, but not only that, they, again, they helped each other. On a Sunday night, we looked forward to Sunday nights, even though the music was still the same. It was just, you did the sets and you had fun. And now, see, I knew how to do these
that,
sets.
so it was fun.
You'd have a group come down from Massachusetts, you'd have a group from New Haven, and, you know, they supported each other. And that's how you'd get to know a lot of people
Right.
from the other clubs. And it was just a fun time.
Fun time.
And if you
That's-
wanted to go someplace, there was also a group that would be going someplace, and they said, well, we're going, you know, would you like to go? And we'd say, yes.
Right.
You know,
And everyone
we had
went
no
together.
commitments to any one person.
Right.
At that time, we were just there working, making friends, and as young people, we
Right.
were enjoying ourselves as well. And it was fun. It was fun. But
And Bridey is also established artist.
oh, thank
She
you.
does oils and
Yeah, and acrylic.
acrylics.
Yeah, but I'm not too good at. I'm still learning the acrylics because it's a different method. The medium that you use, it's different
Than the oils.
than
But
the
she does beautiful
than
work.
the acrylics. Acrylic is easier and it's cleaner.
Oh, than the oils.
It's
I can
cleaner
imagine.
than oils.
Yeah.
But I've started both. Actually, I'm working on one downstairs. I was working on it before you came. I have trouble, a little bit of trouble, but I'll get it finished.
Oh, but they're beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful
thank you.
work. And she also made a record. I mean,
Oh.
here I am sitting with an artist here. So before we go,
You didn't know that.
Yeah,
did
I
you?
didn't know that, right? I did know that, though. But before we go, why don't we sing? What was your favorite one? I think you told me "Come Down the Mountain."
That wasn't my favorite song.
What was your favorite one?
God, there was a lot of them. Please don't ask me to sing.
We'll sing something. We'll sing even if it's whatever. Come down the mountain, Katie Daly. Katie
Katie Daly.
Right?
Do you know that one?
I know a
What
little bit
other
of
songs do
it.
you know?
I know a lot of the songs.
Oh God, you put me in a
Well,
spot.
we'll do Katie Daly.
I don't know Katie Daly.
Come down the mountain. I know. Well, we can do a little bit of it.
Well, her old man Teddy came from Tipperary in the pioneers of 1942. I told you I didn't sing. New York City. That's a la song.
Come down the mountain,
Katie Daly.
come down the mountain, Katie do.
Can you hear me calling Katie Daly? They're going
Katie Jude.
They're probably thinking, and they danced to that.
Oh, Bridey, it's been wonderful. Our second go at this. Give me a big hug, my friend.
Oh, and you know who
So
was
nice.
blessed about this? My sister was able to come marry. She joined the Irish Club.
Right.
My mom came to this country and lived with us.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, and she passed away in this country, but we were able to take her back to Ireland
Oh, nice.
to be buried with my father.
Oh, lovely. And I
So-
know when your aunt and uncle passed away,
Oh, yeah.
you lived with Tom and Marge Coppinger.
Coppinger, they were,
And
oh my
they
God,
were
they were
very
wonderful
active
people. Oh, they
in
were
the Irish
yeah,
American
they
Home
were
Society.
wonderful people. See, that's how I met Don. I wasn't going to the dance
Dance.
that night, but because my mom had passed. And Mrs. Coppinger said, "You're coming to the dance with me tonight." And I said, with both of them. And I said, "No." I said, I won't be dancing. However, I take the tickets at the door. And there was a big band in from New York that night. And it was hard to sit at the door with this big band playing. But anyhow, that's when Don and his two friends came in. They had heard about the dance. And so he wanted to, they were dressed very casual. So they wanted to know, the three of them wanted to know if they could come in because they didn't have shirt and tie. They just had casual clothes. They actually looked very nice, but they weren't dressed like they were supposed to be. So Mary Shea, you know Mary?
I know Mary Shea.
Yeah,
I sang
Mary-
with her choral group.
Oh, the choral group, okay. But anyhow, Mary Shea was sitting at the front door with me, and she said, "You know, you can come in this time." Mary was very good-natured, and she said, "Oh, yes, you can come in, you know." And I said, "But we really don't like to make a habit of it because you have to wear a shirt and tie." And so Don stood back and he said, "Who does she think she is? Giving orders, and I'm only there for the night." But that's how I met Don,
Yeah.
and he asked me to dance, and we've been dancing ever since.
Isn't that
But
wonderful?
yeah, and I did enjoy when my sister came because she came to work at Cigna as well.
Right.
And my sister Joan she was the one that was supposed to come. She was too busy having children.
Yeah,
She ended
8
up
children.
having 7.
Oh, 7
She
children.
had 8, yeah, right, she
Yeah.
had 8 and one died.
Yeah.
But other than that, Joan ended up really well in Ireland herself because she and her husband opened up a store.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they did very well, sent all their kids to college.
Wow, very good.
You know, so things were getting better in Ireland, and they are today.
They are today. as
They are
well.
today. It's amazing the education the kids have in Ireland today, and it's just a wonderful thing that it's like that because
is,
they're
it is.
doing wonderful work.
Right.
You know,
A
that
lot of
we
them
never
come
had
over,
that
right,
happen.
They come over and
Oh
work
my
for
God.
American companies or
Yes.
American companies over there. It
Yeah,
has
my
really-
nephew is working for Google, and he just got a big promotion. We just heard on Facebook, and they're very good to the Irish people and for their employees. Very, very good. what they do for those young kids. When they're going, whatever they do, they stay in the biggest hotels. It's amazing. It's amazing what they do for them.
The experiences they have.
The experience is there, but the kids are very capable of doing that work because they're introduced to it now in the early age, like
Right.
here.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the kids. I'm not too well when it comes to all that electronics. and
Either
stuff.
am I. We know that, don't we, Bridey?
Oh, you did a beautiful job, Maureen.
But anyways, thank you for inviting me to your home.
You're
and,
very welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't sing with you, but
Well,
I
we
have
sang.
lost
We
my
sang.
voice.
We hummed
did,
and-
we did.
But anyways, thanks so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I
Thank
love
you.
You take care. You're a lovely, lovely person.
Thanks.
Thank you.